life marked by callous indifference to the things that matter. Food security, water conservation, climate change, the implications of the fourth industrial revolution through artificial intelligence. They are threatening human survivability, sustainability, peace, and security. You see, ladies and gentlemen, there's a very thin, fine line between toxic nationalism and inclusive patriotism. We have to concern ourselves with the world's business, whether it be in the hundreds thronging off the coast of Lampedusa, Italy, looking for a better life, or the hundreds that die in the Sahara Desert on their way to the ports of Libya, or the millions of displaced, stateless persons wandering the face of the earth looking for human salvation, or the international trafficking of women and children, and the ravages of climate change. This world more than ever needs the vibrancy, intelligence, innovation, abiding hope, and perseverance of Generation Next. The time may well have come for the constitutions of the world to allow young people to not only access institutional power, but be elected and appointed and be participants in institutional power. Leaders sometimes suffer from a bankruptcy of ideas when they rely solely on advisors who tell them that what they want to hear, as opposed to what needs to be said and what needs to be done. Ladies and gentlemen, what is required is bold, fearless, and inclusive leadership that challenges the status quo. Leadership that does not carry the baggage of impending political favors and largesse, but adheres to the tenets of the rule of law, democracy, fairness, equality, integrity, transparency, and most of all, doing the right thing because it is the right thing to do.
What I wanted to ask was, I noticed in your talk, one of the things that you touched on briefly was a mention of social media. Two of the individuals who notably have used social media to great effect are obviously Donald Trump. He only spends time on social media, but also this little Swedish girl, Greta Thunberg, whose voice, just of a schoolgirl, is now heard by millions, if not billions of people throughout the world because of social media. And I think we need to sort of combine this fact of what is happening right at the moment with the thought that every great social revolution is also often accompanied by a technological revolution. I just wonder whether you have any thoughts about how we can use this technology wisely and to avoid the mines in the minefield that you referred to.
Social media provides the average citizen with a vote to vote every single day, every single hour, and every single month. Now, with regard to how, in fact, it is used, I think to a large extent, it has to do with individual and, of course, collective responsibility. We can, in fact, do it by emphasizing the positive instead of the negative. We can, in fact, do it by stop being the cynic and recognizing that there are far greater and better things in this world than bad, that there are more good people than bad, and more importantly, especially given the power and influence of women. Women need to take a stance in social media in a way that will tell the world, I will not denigrate my woman folk. I will not, in fact, engage in denigration, and I will teach my children to engage in fundamental mutual respect. Because you all are great influencers, regardless of it. It may appear to be putting an extra burden on you all. But women, in fact, it has been said time and time again, that women rule the world. And they rule the world by shaping men to be men who respects women by shaping men who are responsible and accountable to families. This is how, in fact, we go about using social media in a positive way to send positive messages.
Cijenjeni kolege suci, gospodine Gandhi, radi uštede vašeg vremena, dozvolite da moj govor u cijelosti pročita dr. Dražen Komarica i zahvaljujem što ćete prihvatiti tu činjenicu.
I express my deepest concern with new developments in the world. Owing to this concern, which I believe you all equally share, I'm obliged to speak openly and concretely. For a long period of time, we have been living in belief, or rather an illusion, that we have finally built solid foundations and clear international frameworks where all spiritual, intellectual, and working potentials that humanity has to offer will be directed towards the light, for a better future. We believe in good economic development, which will lead toward reducing inequality, the gap between populations and countries. With a heart full of optimism, we expect that the future spreading of democracy and democratic institutions all around the world. We saw it as a basis for spreading freedom, human rights, and the rights of minorities, which were written in all documents that have been passed in the United Nations and other international and regional political and economic organizations.
Et elle témoignait sur mon visage, sur ma morphologie et sur moi-même en tant qu'être.
I dream of this big change where all human beings will understand that God has given us everything we need on this planet, but only if we know how to share it.
Si nous savons cultiver le sens du partage, nous retrouverons l'équilibre cherché pour un monde plus juste.
If we know how to share, we will find the balance that we are looking for.
La paix dans le monde est tributaire de cette justice et de cette unité.
Peace in the world that we look for is only what we will get after justice and unity.
Peuple indien, leaders indiens, vous êtes un bon modèle à suivre.
The Indian people, the Indian leaders, you are all a good model, a good example to follow.
Le grand départ se fera avec vous, peuple des grandes civilisations et de grandes cultures. Embarquons avec ce peuple, embarquons avec ce groupe, embarquons-nous avec ceux-là qui ont organisé ce forum pour que le monde réussisse.
You are all a people of great traditions and great culture. And along with this, following these great ideals, only then can we dance, can we talk, can we speak freely. And with that, I would like to thank you for listening to me. Thank you.
What do you think is the best tool to assess gender imbalance in economic sector? Because women, they play an important role in, shaping up of the nation, as you have mentioned. But somehow, to a certain extent, in economic sector, participation of women is still not to that extent. So what is a tool that can be used to assess that?
Et c'est mon grand combat, c'est le combat que je mène dans mon pays pour que les femmes aient accès, comme les hommes, à tous les postes.
It's a fight that we have been fighting, even in our country, that I've been fighting personally. Women should have access to everything, all the posts that men have access to. My mother, from whom I take an example, she is the one who, without even a husband, managed to run an entire household. So why not even a country? Women can do anything. They have the competencies, they have the capacities, the capabilities. In my own staff, in my professional space, 60% of staff are women. So it is my way of chipping in to the feminist movement as well.
Referencing something very thoughtful that appears in this booklet that we were supplied with. Dr. Gandhi has penned a foreword, if you like, under the topic World Judiciary, the last hope for humanity's survival? Well, the first question we must contend with is, what or who is responsible for the degradation of the environment around the world? Who burned the Amazon and why? Who killed the man who sought to protect the Amazon and why? Those are the people to confront. Greed is behind the problems that we have to contend with in this world. In pursuit of money and a bloating bank account or bank statement, people are prepared to do just about anything to get there. People are prepared to kill. I mean, think about it. Who is responsible? Weapons of mass destructions or weapons in general. Who is manufacturing them and why? Where are they used? Are weapons that are busy killing people everywhere around the world now being used where they were manufactured or in underdeveloped countries or developing countries? Teach them love. Teach them that war doesn't pay. Teach them that when you have problems, you have to talk to another. Teach them the critical importance of peace. Teach them that greed can only generate more problems. It can never unite. It can never build. It is because of greed that we have as many wars as we have. What happens? Wars are found where there is oil. Wars are found where there is gold. Wars are found where there is diamond and platinum. Why? The greedy that must be brought to the table are the ones causing this war. And until we bring them to the table, we're not going anywhere.
We have always emphasized that protecting children's rights would require them to have a chance to gain fair education, proper education. And we have seen that the lack of education is the really permanent eminence that would really affect any society and which really develop into undesirable consequences. And later on, we have developed this to the children and the right to the environment. And we have always concluded that the right to protect the environment is the basis for a new world that is really where children are grown up in a healthy environment and their environmental rights are protected, wherein the state is able to combat climate change and also global warming phenomenal changes. Those are all the elements that fall within the protection of environment really techniques that have to be followed by modern states.
احترام به قانون جهانی و وادار کردن مردم جهان برای تطبیق و پیاده کردن این اهداف.
As Article 25 of the Indian Constitution advocate and assist upon, promote international peace and security, maintain just and honorable relations between nations, foster respect for international law, and encourage settlement of international disputes by arbitration.
من با نمایندگی از کشور افغانستان که 40 سال جنگ را تجربه میکنه و همکنون نیز در برابر تروریسم منطقه و جهان.
On behalf of my country, Afghanistan, I have been practicing 40 years internal war, and still many peoples are losing their lives in fight against terrorism. I will now than anyone else how important implementing 51 article of the Indian Constitution.
تا زمانی که ملت‌های جهان دست به دست هم ندهند و برای پیاده کردن و عملی شدن این اهداف بزرگ که قبلا از او یادآور شدم با هم یک زبان و یک عمل نشوند، همین ملت‌ها در آتش جنگ می‌سوزند و از آن خسارمند می شوند.
Until world nations not united for one speech and one action for the implementation of 21st article of the Indian Constitution, otherwise these nations will be burning, suffering and damaged.
We are very strong in terms of our range of subjects, and indeed 21 of our subjects are in the top 20 nationally. And we're also known for our pastoral care of our students, particularly students coming from abroad, where we give them a warm welcome and look after them in their first few years in Queen's. So we have a lot that resonates with the ethos of your school here. And that synergy working across higher education and secondary education is really critical to what we do. Some of the impact of our research work is also relevant. We have, for example, an Institute for Global Food Security, which does amazing work, such as exploring the amount of arsenic contained in some rice products. That led to a change in health policy and in food policy and regulation in Europe. So we went all the way from soil to society, if you will.
Professor Geeta Gandhi Kingdon then proposed the vote of thanks.
His Excellency Mr. Stepan Mesic, President of Croatia from 2000 to 2010. We have had the honor and privilege of his presence at our Chief Justice's conference several times, many years running, and His Excellency Justice Carmona also has been at our conference for the second time this year, and this year he has come with his family as well. His Excellency Mr. Jean-Henri Sion, Prime Minister of the Republic of Haiti until earlier on this year, from 2018 to 2019, he focused predominantly on the important role that women play in providing solutions. Justice Mogoeng Thomas Ritsang Mogoeng, Honorable Chief Justice of the Constitutional Court of South Africa, who is here with us for the first time this year, and we are really honored to have his presence here. South Africa is an extremely important country and one that was emancipated from decades of rule by, one could say, a foreign power, or at any rate by people of one particular color. Honorable Mr. Justice Adil Umar Sharif, Deputy Chief Justice of the Supreme Constitutional Court of Egypt, again another extremely important country geopolitically and in every other manner, and a country that has recently gone through, one could say, a revolution and written its constitution anew. He said that at these conferences always he has seen a focus on international peace, on communal harmony within our respective countries. Justice Syed Yusuf Halem, Honorable Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Afghanistan, has also been a very staunch, stalwart supporter of this conference, having been at this conference many times in the past several years.
Teachers of City Montessori School, Mahanagar campus, presented a hymn.
I just keep trusting my Lord, and He gives me a song. Through the storm clouds darkening the sky, over heavenly trail, I just keep trusting my Lord, He will never fail.
Here are the high points from the speeches of the speakers for the first plenary session.
الثقافة القانونية في المجتمعات وتعزيز حكم القانون في المجتمعات الإنسانية.
So the Chief Justices from the world have gathered here to convey the message and to spread judicial values and to strengthen the law and order among the world communities and to find resolutions for the international disputes. I hope that the conference gets success and achieve the expected goals. I am thankful to respected Dr. Jagdish Gandhi and his staff, and also to all the teachers working with City Montessori School.
The theme of this convention is a perfect plan to bring out the best solution of these problems. ladies and gentlemen, Zanzibar is a semi-autonomous island in the United Republic of Tanzania, and Tanzania ratified international conventions on the rights of child, such as the United Nations Charter on the Right of the Child, 1991, the African Charter on the Rights and Welfare of the Child, 2003, the optional protocol on the sale of children, child prostitution, and child pornography in 2003, the optional protocol on the involvement of children in armed conflict in 2004, and Convention number 182, which governs the abolition of all forms of child labor, 2001.
D'abord, la notion d'enfant comporte plusieurs définitions que nous allons voir que selon la Convention des Nations Unies.
I know that their rights have been protected and assured by United Nations by the relative Convention of the Rights of Children, the CRC of 1990. The four basic principles of this